Hello, this is Scott Caruso from MUX1303, here to deliver the preliminary findings from the first playtest of the MyGov application that I created. First, a little bit of background on the playtest itself. It was conducted over the course of a few hours on Saturday, March the 16th, 2013. At my place of business, actually. Seven coworkers of mine of varying people who I knew of varying degrees. Some people I knew better than others. Some people I didn't really know at all. Who took the application, ran through a battery of 6 or 7 tests for me, and then also provided some feedback on the application and the usability therein. Quickly, breakdown of the users that participated. Like I said, there were 7. 6 of them were aged 22 to 30, which is kind of the target demographic, only because those tend to be more activist type political people. One of them was aged over 40, so not quite in the target demographic, but not necessarily awful either. 5 male, 2 female. Didn't really plan it that way. That's just how it worked out. 6 of the 7 are regular smartphone users, and 4 of them are regular tablet users. 5 of them were classified as liberal or very liberal, and 2 of them as independents, which was a bit of a problem because there wasn't quite the demographic split that I would have liked there. I'll talk about that in a moment. I work at a video game developer. I'm a manager in video game development, so everyone who was involved had some moderate to advanced level of tech savvy. And 4 of the 7 of them rated themselves as 6 in terms of political savvy. 1 of them was a 7, and then 2 of them were lower than that. A little bit more of a further breakdown of that. Like I said, the expected age of the intended audience was pretty much nailed for 6 of the 7 of them. I wish that it could have been a little more politically diverse. It was very heavily liberally tilted, which could, however, have to do with the fact that A, there was an age bias. Younger people tend to skew more liberal, and B, location bias. I live in Massachusetts, which, as you may know, is a more liberal state than others. So that could also be location and an age bias playing a role there. I was very happy with the level of political awareness I got. I wasn't expecting it to be so high. And because all the people work at the same place, that could impact the level of diversity I get in the responses, because you have a kind of a mentality of commonality there. Some of the key metrics I was able to pull from the test: the average time to complete all of the tasks in the application was less than 5 minutes. This included time talking about what people were going through and kind of thinking through things. So I thought that was pretty good. A little higher than I expected, but the participants were also very good at thinking out loud and providing feedback as they were going along. So that could have tilted that higher than I originally anticipated. 5 of the people completed all the tasks with no issues whatsoever, which was great. 2 of them completed all the tasks eventually, but had some issues in completing them and kind of needed to feel their way through a little bit. In the post playtest survey, all of the people responded that their overall impression of the application was good, which was phenomenal. I was very happy with that. And also, no one else was aware of applications that do something similar, which was also good for me. I kind of expected that because of the lack of competing applications I was able to find when I did my market research last week, but it was still good that no one had any idea of any applications like this. Main menu was rated as mediocre by a majority of the users, but all of the users rated the search results page as at least good, and 4 of them, in fact, said that it was great. And then 5 out of the 7 responded that they would use an application like this once it's fully featured out. Again, another really, really good metric there. Some of the key successes that I pulled from the test: people were able to navigate very well. The back and forward functionality made perfect sense. Again, which I expected. I kept it very simple, very, very clean. No one had any problems getting back and forth between screens, especially once they had gotten familiar with the application. Everyone was able to successfully complete tweet and phone call tasks, so those 2 things were called out well enough that people were able to find them and use them. Like I mentioned in the previous slide, there was universal acclaim for the search results screen. Some of the quotes were that people loved the little factoids I provided on the load screen to get in there. People thought it was very intuitive. They liked that they were able to click around and not have to go back and forth between a search results page and detail views. And all 5 of the 7 who responded to the confusing question, the question about whether or not there was anything confusing in the application, there were 2 that refused to answer or didn't answer, said there was nothing confusing to them. So that was good. 100% of the respondents said nothing was confusing to them. So that's good. I think some of the data I saw and some of the notes I took on while people were using the application say a little bit different than that there was anything confusing, but that people didn't think that they were confused while they were doing it, I thought was a good sign. There are also some clear areas for improvement that I got both from watching people and from the post-test survey. There is certainly a lack of aesthetic polish, especially on the main menu, that pretty much everyone that responded called out. Anything from the button not being clear that it was a button, people thought it was a banner, from the fact that people wanted the zip code search up above the button, which I had intentionally not put because I wanted the focus to be on the button itself. So there are a number of different aesthetic things that people called out on the main menu in particular. When asked to simply find the the politicians for the current location, 3 of the 7 users actually tried to search by the current zip code rather than using the button that said "Find my politicians," and which was the intended flow right there. You just hit the button and it geolocates. 3 of the 7 users rather, tried to go straight to the zip code search. So that's a flow that can clearly be improved a little bit more. One user, I thought this was interesting, tried to tap on the Twitter icon rather than the president's Twitter handle that you'd find there. If you're looking at the search results page, there's a little display for the Twitter icon, for the Twitter handle for the president or for whoever you're looking at, and there's a small little Twitter icon right next to the name, and one user tried to click on it expecting it to take him into Twitter when actually you're supposed to click on the button next to it. I thought that was very interesting, something I would not have expected. Some users were not immediately, it was not immediately obvious to them that the list view was actually able to show more data, so if you actually tapped on a politician, it would replace the top of the screen with information about that politician. It took a few of the respondents a little bit of time to figure that out. And a number of people I noticed in the navigation, there's a list view that appears. You can just tap different politicians in the list view to show data about them. Didn't realize that you could just tap another politician to show more data. I saw a few people hitting the back button and then tapping another politician, which was an unnecessary step. So that's a flow that maybe I could improve a little bit. A couple other items of note that people called out. One user specifically said they wanted more details on each politician. This is planned and is coming simply due to time constraints. I didn't include more, but it's good that people are asking for things that I'm planning on. Only one of the users tried to flip the application vertically. He wasn't, it didn't seem anyway, terribly disappointed that it was forced and locked to landscape mode, which was a design decision, especially for the prototype. He didn't call it out, or at least no users called that out in the survey either, so it did not seem to be a big problem to them, but I still thought it was noteworthy that there was one person that did try to do that, even though they were forced horizontal to begin with, and everything was shown horizontally to them. One user was unable to find his current congressional district once he got one page past it, which I thought was interesting. He couldn't figure out to hit the back button to get back to the map view that had the congressional district in it. I don't really know what that means necessarily, but I thought it was just another interesting item of note that I wanted to call out here in the analysis. So it's the most important thing. What are the next steps? What do we do to improve the application to put it in front of people again? Clearly, there is a need to improve the overall aesthetic, adding some branding, especially on the main screen, make it more clear what that big button does, maybe make the search results look a little more like search results, maybe place them somewhere different. There's some things that can be done there to improve the main menu aesthetic, absolutely. Also, maybe provide some additional context clues to people about what they're able to do once they're on the search results page, so it's quick and easy and snappy. Maybe it's just the first time you appear, it's there's something that flashes or something that just indicates that you can tap on the names and get more details, or maybe just a little icon, a little arrow icon on the buttons that indicates that something happens if you tap on them, something like that. I want to get the prototype zip code search working for people that actually do try to use the zip code. I don't want to have to explain to people that zip code's not hooked up yet. Plus, I want to see how people interact with the zip code. And then allowing the users to tap those icons rather than just tapping the buttons next to the icons. A really simple addition there that I think could do wonders for some people who go in there expecting certain functionality from the application. So that's the preliminary results after looking over the information that I had in my handy-dandy Excel sheet of notes that you'll find right here, and also from the post-test survey. I look forward to putting this app out in front of people again after I've made some of these changes and following back up to see how we're doing. Hope everyone else had a great week too, and I will talk to you again next week.